My name is Ryan, and this is a story about how my life changed forever after a difficult divorce. I'm a 36-year-old man from Los Angeles, California, and I thought I had everything. I wanted until my world was turned upside down. My former spouse, Emma, 33, and I divorced about half a year ago, and within a month of that she was pregnant. Emma and I had been a couple for 3 years and married for 18 months. When she informed me she was having an affair with her boss. His name was Samuel, and he was a 43-year-old man. The affair had been going on for a few months. We had a little boy who was a year old. When she told me about the affair, I was still trying to grasp the news, but she already had the divorce papers prepared because her boss told her he was ready to marry her. The only reason she had delayed was because she wasn't certain if Samuel was going to commit to her or not. But as soon as he did, she decided to leave me and our son and go with him. The divorce was fairly simple because I wanted full custody of our child, and I got it. She did not even attempt to fight for him, nor did she fight for any of our belongings. I received everything we owned, and it made sense. Because now that she had Samuel, she was wealthy enough to have the lifestyle she wanted. After the divorce, I did not hear from her until recently. I had heard from some mutual friends, though, that she announced her pregnancy just a couple of weeks after the divorce was finalized. I don't know exactly how far along she is, and it makes no difference to me since she is out of my life permanently. The divorce had been hard for me, emotionally, because unlike her, I was truly in love with her, and I believed we had something special in the 3 years we were together. I always noticed she had a materialistic streak, but I honestly never thought it would affect our relationship. I've been quite successful as a doctor, but I can't deny that Samuel is much wealthier than me since he owns the company Emma used to work for. Even though they had become quite close, I never felt threatened by him, because I thought they were just good friends. I felt secure in our relationship because I was sure Emma loved me as much as I loved her. Obviously, I was wrong, because if she had loved me, she wouldn't have found it so simple to leave me. And I can still understand leaving me, but how a mother can abandon her own child makes no sense. She did not bother to check on our son even once after the divorce, which made it much easier for me to despise her. That is what she deserved. When she left me, she tried to tell me the reason was that I was never there for her, unlike Samuel, who was always available. It's not easy to fool me, though. I know the real reason she left was because he was much richer than me. When I brought it up, she started yelling at me, acting like I was a terrible person for even suggesting that, even if it was the truth. Anyway, the reason she contacted me recently was also related to money, which just proved my theory. I was recently named the only heir to my uncle's fortune. He was a real estate businessman who built a fortune for himself and owned one of the largest real estate companies in the state. He never married and had no children of his own, but we were very close. He adored me, and I knew that, but I still had not expected him to name me the only heir to all of his assets. Everything is still being valued, but I know for a fact that I'm looking at a property worth over $2 million, and I have not even started to consider the worth of his other assets. He also left the company to me, but I am not interested in running it. Fortunately, he also left instructions for me in case I did not want to run the company, so I have named his CFO as the current CEO. The company continues to operate smoothly, but I will still benefit from whatever it earns. I could easily retire now, however. I'm going to continue my work because I love what I do. With all this money, I can also give back to society in much bigger ways. But that's enough about my plans. Let's talk about Emma's not-so-noble ones. Last week, I told a few friends about my inheritance over dinner. They were surprised, but most of them seemed happy for me. I guess one of them wasn't so happy because someone told Emma about it. That is how she found out. The next day, she arrived at my residence saying she needed to speak with me. She was heavily pregnant. I was about to tell her to leave, but I had a feeling I wanted to hear her out. So I decided to let her in. She was back after almost 6 months since the divorce. I guessed it must be something important that brought her here. At the time, I had no idea she knew about my inheritance. She tried to make some small talk with me, but I wasn't interested. I kept my replies to one word. Then she congratulated me on the inheritance, which was her first error. I was a bit shocked she had found out about it, but I figured one of my friends must have told her. I didn't say anything and just thanked her. Then she asked about our son and how he was doing. That really angered me because for the past 6 months she had acted like she did not even have a child. Now all of a sudden she had a conscience and wanted to know how her son was doing. I ended up losing my temper. I am grateful my son was not at home at the time he was with my parents. Otherwise, he would have heard how I spoke to his mother. I do not regret it because she absolutely deserved it. When she asked about our son, I just told her to get to the point and stop beating around the bush. I knew she was here for a reason, not just to make small talk and ask about things she did not care about. I was getting impatient and she could tell, so she decided to get to the point. She told me she was here to discuss the new member of our family. I was obviously very confused because I assumed she was pregnant with her boss's baby, not mine. She had been quite certain about it when we were separating. I was so emotionally distressed by so many things that I didn't even question it. In any case, even if the baby was mine, I knew a paternity test after the baby was born would give me the answer. I would deal with that then. For as long as she was pregnant, it was better that Samuel handled it because I did not want anything to do with her unless the baby was mine. It sounds harsh, but that is how it was. I didn't think she would care either because she was confident. The baby was Samuel's. I was quite shocked when she called the baby the new member of our family because I didn't know if that was a fact. So I decided to ask her first if she was sure about the paternity. If the baby was not mine, I had no interest in talking to her anymore. But instead of taking the hint, she told me she had not done a paternity test yet, but would if that's what I wanted. However, regardless of who the biological father was, she believed that since she was still married to me, when the baby was conceived, I had an equal right to the child. We had not talked about this earlier, but it was time we did since she was just a couple of weeks away from giving birth. Then she dropped a bombshell on me. She told me she wanted my name on the baby's birth certificate as the father because she believed it would be better for both her kids to have the same last name. I definitely had not seen that coming, and it took me a few minutes to even process what she was saying. But once I had, I immediately said no. I did not want to, but I ended up laughing in her face because her idea was so foolish. It was easy for me to connect the dots. She had already made the mistake of letting me know she was aware of the inheritance. Now she was clearly trying to secure the baby's future and in some way her own by making sure I took responsibility for the baby and maybe paid child support. Now that I was suddenly wealthier than even Samuel, she was singing a different tune. I found it very amusing. I told her straight up that she was foolish for thinking I would even consider this. I told her to get out of my house because I did not want to speak to her anymore. But she did not leave. She kept sitting there and trying to reason with me. She told me she was ready to get a paternity test, but she believed it would be better for her children to have at least some kind of bond, and having the same last name would help them connect better with each other. She tried to make it seem like she really cared about the kids and their relationship. So she was actually asking me to let her add my name to the birth certificate of her baby, so our son would have a sibling and would find it easy to relate to the baby once they were born. It was pathetic because she herself had not been there for our son for the past 6 months after our divorce. She had not even bothered to check up on him even though she had visitation rights. So I told her that our son barely even had a mother anymore, and now she was acting like it was crucial for her to ensure he could bond with his sibling. Even if I agreed that our son should have a relationship with his sibling or half-sibling, it still makes no sense to put me on the birth certificate as the father, if I am not actually the biological father. I made it very clear to her that if the paternity test shows I am the father, I might even consider her idea. But if it does not, I am simply not interested. Once I made that clear, she tried to argue with me more. She was desperately trying to make it seem like she cared about the relationship her future baby would have with our son regardless of who the parent was, and that's why she wanted my name on the birth certificate. But I knew the real reason was my inheritance and nothing else. I told her I knew what she was after, so she shouldn't take me for a fool. She was not happy about the implication that she was a gold digger, so she started yelling at me again. I just told her to leave or I would call the police, and she finally left. I could tell she was regretting leaving me, but this was just karma for what she did. After she left, I was still quite angry about what she had just tried to pull. I couldn't believe she thought I was that stupid and that I would just let her name me as the father of the baby. Of course, if I am actually the father of the baby, then I would have no issues. But her suggestion that all our kids should have the same last name, and that's why she wants to add me to the birth certificate regardless of whether I'm the father or not, just did not sit well with me. Had she come to me to ask for a paternity test to find out the actual parentage and then worked with me, I might have respected that. But this was clearly just a scheme for her to claim a stake in my inheritance. Because she could not come up with a valid plan, she was grasping at straws. I was pretty upset and I couldn't let this go without a response. I hadn't done anything at all to get back at her yet, but after she had come to my house and we had that discussion, I was so angry that I decided to contact Samuel. I sent him an email about what just happened. At that point, I did not care if he already knew about her plan. I just wanted to cause some trouble. That was the only idea I could think of. I wasn't sure if it would work, but I got lucky. It turns out Samuel had no idea this was what she was doing behind his back. I didn't find out any of this from them. He did not reply to my email. But after I sent it to him, he apparently got into a huge argument with Emma. I don't even blame him. I think anyone in his position would have done the same thing. But instead of handling the situation, she is just too busy blaming me. She has been posting about it constantly. She has also been talking to all of our mutual friends, trying to get them to talk to me and get the facts straight with Samuel. I do not even know what that means because as far as I'm concerned, I already told him the truth. Obviously, none of our friends are on her side. They think what I did was totally justified. This is strange because I am pretty sure one of them was the person who told her about the inheritance. I just didn't find out who it was so I could cut ties with them. Anyway, until then I have Emma to deal with because she is really getting on my nerves. She has been posting endlessly about how I am jealous of her lifestyle and I'm upset that she left me, which is why I've been actively trying to ruin her relationship with Samuel and feeding him a bunch of lies about why she visited me last week. She claims she only visited me to see her son since I haven't let her see him. She claims that day she was fighting with me because she wanted to see him, and I refused to bring him back from his, grandparents' place. That's what she wants me to admit, but I am not going to do that since it's a lie. I have done everything I can to avoid talking to her or interacting with her, but she just won't stop talking about me. It's getting to be a bit much because for the past week she has posted about me every single day. It's annoying that she thinks she can get away with lying about what really happened. Most of our friends know the truth, but many people are even supporting her in the comments section, mostly people who don't know me. I know she is doing all of this for sympathy, so Samuel can fix things with her and believe her lies. However, if it is coming at the cost of my reputation, even among people who don't know me, I don't think that is fair. So I've been thinking about putting out the truth for everyone to see. The reason I have held back is because I know it's going to hurt her reputation significantly and Samuel is definitely going to leave her. They are not even married yet, so it's going to be very easy for him to just leave, since they are only engaged. But before I do that, I want to be sure I am doing the right thing, so I did it. I actually posted the truth before even opening the comments here, because my instinct told me I should just go for it. And that is what I did. Afterwards, I came here to see if I made the right choice. I am very grateful that most people believe posting my side of the story would be the right thing to do. I had blocked her after the divorce, but I unblocked her just so she could see this post. Most of our friends are supporting me, even though I think I would be fine without the support. It means a lot to me that they are standing by me. I'm pretty sure it is really upsetting her. She has not been able to get the kind of sympathy she wanted. From what I know, she has had to move back in with her parents because Samuel does not want her living with him anymore. It has been a week and 4 days since I sent Samuel that email. Even though he has not replied to me, a lot has happened since then, and I know there is trouble in paradise. I am pretty happy this is happening to them because she left me and our son for someone else just because he was wealthier than me, and Samuel was just a homewrecker. I am glad karma is finally catching up to them, and I truly hope this teaches them a lesson of a lifetime. Even if it doesn't, it does not matter because I am still going to be rich, and I'll be happy with or without them. My son and I are even planning on taking a trip in a few weeks because I think I need a break. I've been working myself to the bone ever since the divorce. Now that I am finally getting the closure, I thought I think a well-deserved break will do me a lot of good. When I come back, I'll be ready to work even harder. The only thing I have not been able to figure out yet is who exactly told Emma about the inheritance. I have asked several of my friends if they had said anything about my inheritance, and all of them have denied having anything to do with it. The people I told about the inheritance are very close to me, so I hate the thought that one of them had been lying to me, but that is how it is. Anyway, I'm going to start planning my vacation with my son now. Update 2. Emma showed up at my door again today. This time my son was at home too. I told her to go away right away because I was sure she was not here to see him. She was here to probably pick a fight with me, and I did not want my son to see me acting like that. Emma just brings out the worst in me. But she refused to leave and told me she was here to see her son. Since she had visitation rights, I could not stop her. That was true, so I had to let her in and allow her to see our son. I was not happy about that at all. If I had refused, there might have been legal consequences. I have already spoken to my lawyer to stop this from happening in the future. Just to be clear, it's not that I don't want her to see our son. I would obviously love for our son to have a normal relationship with both his parents, but I do not want her coming in and out of his life whenever she wants to. The first time she left home to move in with Samuel, she did not even say goodbye to our son. It was obvious in the following weeks that he found it very hard to deal with her absence. I do not want that happening again, so I've spoken to my lawyer. We are going to file for supervised custody visits so I can watch when she sees him. She can't just come and go whenever she wants, because that's not good for our son. Anyway, our son was a little confused to see her at first, but then he seemed happy enough. She ignored me the entire time she was here. I noticed that she started taking a bunch of videos towards the end of her visit. The only thing I said to her before she left was that I did not want her to post any of those videos online. I do not want our son to have an online presence when he is so young. To that, she only told me she was saving these videos for herself, in case she missed him too much, which I think is a bunch of nonsense. But I did not argue with her because it would be pointless. Anyway, that was what happened, and I think it was pretty odd, but it's not like she did anything wrong, so I cannot complain. I had asked my lawyer to file for Emma to have only supervised visiting rights after she visited us a few days ago, but after what happened last evening, I do not think that's going to be needed anymore. After her last visit, she had not posted anything against me. In fact, she had been quite inactive on social media for a while. She had made a few posts against me after I had put out my side of the story, but that was just for a few days, and then she just went silent. Then she paid me a visit to see our son, which was also strange. However, what happened yesterday is what takes the cake. She just showed up again randomly with a lawyer and gave me signed paperwork. It said that she was giving up custody of our son. She and her lawyer told me they would file the petition and get this approved by family court soon enough. She just wanted to give me a heads up so I wouldn't be taken by surprise. I really couldn't stop myself from asking why she was doing this, because just a couple of days ago she had visited us to meet our son, but she did not give me a clear answer. All she said was that she had decided it was in the best interest of our son to only have one parent. That would be me, because she was going to be too busy taking care of her future child. Meeting with him the other day had made her realize he was better off without his mother. She said he did not seem attached to her, nor did she feel anything when she was around him, so she wanted me to take over completely and told me she would not bother us anymore with her presence. I was confused about what was happening. I felt bad for my son because his mother had said she did not feel attached to him. Even though he doesn't know what that means yet, I know it would hurt him if he understood. But I did not try to stop her, since no matter what I wanted, she had made up her mind. If she did not want to be a mother, I was not going to force her to be. She was definitely right about one thing: it would be better for him to just have one parent around him, and that would be me. Because I was actually willing to be a father to him. Before she left, I asked her if she knew anything about the paternity of her child. She told me she had decided she would only get a paternity test done after the baby was born, and until then I had nothing to worry about. She also told me that if the baby turned out to be mine, we would work out a deal that worked for both of us. But until then, she did not want me to speak to her, and I respect that. It might seem insensitive, but I already have a lot on my plate to be worrying about a child who is probably not even mine. I finally heard back from Samuel after almost a month since I sent him that email. I learned a lot of things I did not know about Emma in this situation. He started off by apologizing to me for everything, but I'm not going to get into that. After the apology, he told me they actually had done a paternity test a couple of weeks ago. They knew for sure the baby was not mine. The baby is his, and even when she had come to me, she had known about it. That's why he had been so upset and ended things with her. It was very obvious she did not truly belong to anyone. She tried to tell him that she had only visited me to talk to me about seeing our son more often. She claimed I wasn't letting her see him. However, he did not believe that. He decided to believe my side of what happened, since for the past 6 months he had kept pushing her to see our son, but she was the one who always kept putting it off. It seemed very unlikely that she had changed her mind all of a sudden. So he ended their engagement and asked her to move out. Even after she left, she sent him a couple of videos with our son to prove she had actually visited him. She was not lying about what she had said to him, but he's not an idiot. He could see right through her. At least now I know why she had taken all those videos. It was just so she could use them to prove herself right. I can't imagine anything more disgusting. She was literally using our son to get back with Samuel. When she realized it was not going to work, she decided to give up custody of him. Anyway, he told me they are still going to raise their child together. She's claiming an excessive amount of child support right now, which is expected since she quit her job after she got engaged to him. But that is their problem now, and I am finished with her. Soon enough, I will have full sole custody of our son. Even the process of inheriting everything my uncle left me is almost over. So I'll be pretty wealthy. 6 months ago, I would not have been able to imagine living a life like this. But right now, I am truly happy about how things have turned out.